Parker, thanks so much for joining us.
Keith, great to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you because we're going to talk about Steer, which is modernizing the auto repair world, which needs to be modernized. So I can't wait to hear the details. So let's talk about Steer.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. So this actually is something that I started in the north end of Boston in my apartment in 2004. I just moved to Boston and I was driving down 93 and had the Christmas tree effect on my car. Every light in the dashboard came on. And when I got home, I quickly went on Google and I typed in auto repair shop, only to find dealerships in the local area. I couldn't find an independent shop, but I couldn't afford to go to the dealer. So I knocked on my neighbor's door and I asked her, "Hey, do you know where to go? You've lived here for a while." And she said, "No, but here's the yellow book." And so I went in the yellow book. I had to call 6 or 7 shops before I found one that would even work on my car. I was very frustrated that I had to use this book and couldn't go on Google and find a shop, and decided to build a website called mechanicadvisor.com that allowed people or allowed independent shops to be found and consumers to go to Google and find these shops. That led to me really, getting familiar with the industry and the automotive market. But one thing I learned as I had a directory is that people hated getting their car repaired, and consumers that were coming to Mechanic Advisor would come back a year later and find a different shop and then a different shop, and there didn't seem to be a lot of retention or loyalty within the market. And talking to shops, I said, "Hey, I see on my website that a lot of consumers aren't coming back. Do you have a challenge with retention?" And they said, "People hate getting their car repaired. My day is filled with people thinking they're getting ripped off or that I'm taking advantage of them. They don't understand the car or the repairs that we're trying to perform." And to me, that was a light bulb moment of, wow, if I can help the shop have or educate the consumer and have them have a better experience of getting their car repaired, and I can get the consumer to have a better experience and want to go back to the shop, it could be a win-win for the industry and for car owners and shops alike. And that led us in building a platform called Steer.
All right, so we're going to talk about kind of the state of the platform now, but just more about your background. So you started this company and early innings of, it was still a yellow book, right? So this was early innings of SEO and Google and how important that was. And that actually led you while you're still running this company, build a career specializing in this sector as well, right?
Yeah, so 2004, 2005, I built this website. I go on Google. I went to Mass Art. I built this website in the class at Mass Art, and I went to Google the day after I graduated, and I could not find my website in Google. And I said, "Google, like I have the best thing possible for you," and that led me to forums and joining it. An early community of people trying to understand search engine optimization and how to influence. Your website in Google. That led to me making changes and really, sharpening the techniques there. To eventually, I started to rank for like Auto Repair Shop Boston, and 2004 and five. I'm showing everyone my website and where I rank, and wanted to tell everyone about it. And that led to a phone call one day from a startup called Vistaprint, who said, "We need someone like you. You know this Google thing, and can you help us rank for business cards and postcards, flyers, other terms around their products?"
All right, so let's talk about Steer. Obviously, it's gone through a lot through the years, but like, what are the needs for automotive repair shops today?
Yeah, so I mean, I think one thing that we've heard over and over from the shops is we want they want the consumers to better understand how they take care of their largest or second largest asset they own, right? So when you come in and you haven't been in the shop for 3 years, and they take a look at the car and they have to come back and tell you, "Hey, sorry, it's $3,000 because you didn't replace your brakes when you should have, and now you have rotors that are ruined, and we gotta replace all your rotors." That's not an easy conversation for them, and they're engineers, so they care sometimes more about the car than the people, and they want you to protect it. They want you to take care of it, and so they don't deliver the message necessarily in the best way either. And so what we've gone out and built is a way of taking that book that's in your glove box that maybe you've looked at before but probably never read. We've taken that information and we've created a way of delivering that to the consumer so that you can understand as a car owner, how do you maintain this asset? How do you protect it? How do go and get regular maintenance that doesn't have a high level of cost, but is regular and is based on the year, make, and model vehicle you own, so that the shop doesn't have to tell you, hey, you're kind of an idiot. You missed all these services, and now it's going to cost you a lot. Um, and again, they're not always the best communicators. Allowing them to have an automated or a software that delivers that information, and then the expectations that are met by the consumer of, hey, you've been emailing me or you've been telling me for 8 months and I ignored it. Now I'm coming in. They have a better understanding of, they should have done it, maybe they didn't, or they're coming in knowing that, performing that maintenance will prevent larger repair in the future.
So how has the platform evolved? Like when I think of vertical SaaS, this is a perfect example of an industry that's ripe for disruption and bringing it to more of a modern tech stack.
Yeah, so one of the things that I noticed a couple of years ago was shops never wanted to do scheduling. They never wanted to, they had people with a waiting room. You just like show up and you get, hey, it's gonna be 3 hours, but we'll get to and like there was no appointments, and that started to change. COVID really rapidly changed that though, where they didn't couldn't use their waiting room, right? And so all of a sudden they had to have a calendar and more scheduled appointments. And we saw a huge opportunity just seeing, there are industries or verticals where you can see ahead, and that's exciting for me. Of like, I can see what's happening in restaurants and your barber shop and salons and other vertical areas where they're providing a level of service. And so online scheduling became something that I knew every repair shop in the United States would have to have, and that the consumer would expect to be able to schedule an online appointment. And so we acquired a company called AutoOps. We became the first integrator into Google. So back to Google where I started, but you can go to any shop that uses our software. You can book an appointment through Google. It goes directly into the operational software that the shop uses. You're getting a real appointment. It's based on real availability. It's not like some promissory or a request that they have to call you back. And we're one of the very few in the market that has built the technology in order to provide that, feature. But there are many different ways in which we want to transform, and we have a really cool roadmap of products and features to come.
Well, a couple that I discovered is you're innovating the little sticker on your windshield that tells you that you need to schedule your next oil change based on mileage. And the other thing that I am a huge fan of is digitizing your appointments. So at the end of, getting your car fixed, you get that printout. And I was always, as a consumer, I'm like, should I hold on to this? Because I would have a file at home of the car. Because if I ever sell the car, I want to have proof that I did the routine maintenance. But that's all changing.
Yeah, nothing worse than like buying a car and the guy's like, "Here's the folder," right? And it's like,
Exactly.
what the heck is this? And it's like, so yeah, no, one of the things that we noticed, and I think all our products kind of work in conjunction, but is these shops, like with every repair, they take the sticker and they have to take a pen, and they like, maybe the pen doesn't work fully, and they scribble this date on, and then usually it's like 6 months after you like kind of look up in the windshield and you're like, oh my gosh, I need an oil change. Like, oh, you should get there. And so One of the products we have is a QR code that you can scan at any point in time, and it will give you all your previous service history. You can see every oil change that you've had performed, all of those invoices that were provided. But even I think more revolutionary is we provide a roadmap. So it shows you when you've done every service and then when every service needs to be done in the future. So you can say, hey, oh, in July, I'm going to need my next oil change. But guess what? In August, I'm going to need new tires too. So maybe in July, I get the oil change and the tires. So I don't have to come back in August. But it gives you a real clear picture of all the services you need. And then if you go to sell the car, you can say, hey, I have this access point here. I can provide you as a user on it, and you can get all the vehicle information and take ownership of all the information regarding this vehicle. And it could be an asset to when you sell it. So it's like, hey, I just got new tires. My car should be worth a little bit more with new tires, or I've maintained it regularly. That's certainly, if I'm buying a car, something I want to know.
So what's the current state at Steer in terms of, you know, growth plans or whatever you can share?
Yeah, so we want to, I think 120% year-over-year growth is in our plan this year. So we are a very high growth, early mid-stage company. We are continuing to hire and bring in people that are really passionate about building things and want to change an industry. It's I think one of those areas left where you're like, wow, like there's this so every day is new opportunity. We're never like, oh, we don't know what to do next. It's like, hey, we want to be very laser focused and do incredible things that have a great impact, but there is kind of endless opportunity or thoughts about things we can do.
And what's the culture like working at Steer?
Yeah, so fast-paced, constantly, building, but also solving problems. So looking at, what are our challenges? How do we, go after the biggest problems? How do we, find ways to, go after a very fragmented market? So 85% of the market's independently owned, and so we're, really creative in how we're trying to address the market and go after the market and looking for people that want to help us solve that problem.
Now, top tier talent, regardless of market conditions, they always have options. So why is now the ideal time to join Steer?
Yeah, I think we're just at the beginning. So yeah, you have an opportunity to join a company where 3 years from now, um, we can look at it like potentially what Visprint did for transforming the printing industry, and I think we'll look at the impact that we can have on the industry and what we will do to it will be exciting and hopefully generational to how we view getting our car repaired.
Well, if you are interested in exploring opportunities at Steer, you need to go to their company page on VentureFizz, which has all their job listings. This is a fascinating company, vertical SaaS at its finest, great foundation, yet an industry that is still ripe for disruption and needs to be modernized. So go to their company page, venturefizz.com/steer, and you'll see all their job listings. Parker, thanks so much for taking the time to walk us through all the details on the company.
Keith, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.